Sports City, chef, Sports City, chef, yeah, Cabby, Taj.
Yes. The villain is back here with another edition of Finger Foods, the post-mortem edition for the New York Football Giants. I am the villain, Barry Jordan, here with you at Sports City Chefs, exclusively on the Sports City Chefs YouTube channel. As I always say, I encourage you to get to our website, like and subscribe our page, our YouTube page, for more content from the chefs. I'm sure Mr. Serious will be doing his finger foods of some sort soon, and then we'll have a lot more content as we go along. Have a lot of big things going on. Shout out to the whole Sports City Chefs family. Shout out to our sponsors. Shout out to the barbershop exclusively on Clubhouse. Those guys hit 5,000. They do great things over there. TP Timeless and Mr. Harvey and those boys. So love to give them guys a shout out. So this is the post-mortem for the New York Football Giants as their season mercifully comes to an end after a 22-7 loss to the Washington football team. The Giants finish with a 4-13 record for the season. First Giants head coach to finish the season with 13 losses is an honor only held by one man, that is Joe Judge. Giants, I mean, what are you going to say? Nine losing seasons in the last 10 years, 6 straight seasons, or 5 straight seasons with a losing record, not missing the playoffs. End of the season, 4 straight games, losing by more than 10 points, uncompetitive football. The list goes on and on. I would talk about the game yesterday. Why bother? Giants got handled. They got embarrassed. They embarrassed themselves. Listen, I'll talk briefly about it. Everybody's talking about 3rd and 9. 3rd and 9 is probably what's going to set apart Joe Judge from for the season. I mean, there's been a lot of errors, gaffes by this team all season. Coaching, play calling, execution, whatever you want to call it. But that 3rd and 9 inside the 2-yard line epitomized what a pathetic end it was to the New York Giants football season. The Giants were inside the 5-yard line and in the shadow of the end zone, literally at the 2-yard line on 2nd and 11. Giants run a QB sneak to give themselves a little breathing room. Okay, I'll take that. But then on 3rd and 9, Joe Judge decides to QB sneak it again and basically show a lack of confidence in his players, showed a lack of confidence in his play calling, and just flat out pathetic giving up. It's one thing to be conservative and run the football with Saquon Barkley at that point. It's another thing to just be a pathetic loser and run a QB sneak at the shadow of your goal line and completely give up. Joe Judge, his job was supposed to be safe, I think, over a month ago. Now there is questions that if he should come back and if he will come back. Everybody knows Dave Gettleman. Most likely, we're just waiting for the official announcement that he will not come back as the GM. I think everybody thinks he will probably be gracefully retiring at 70 years old. He's completed his 4th season as the Giants GM, hasn't delivered on anything. He's not going to get another job in this league. So, they'll let him retire. But, truth be told, it is a firing. He's brought in little to no talent to this team. I mean, he has brought in talent, but just has missed. His notable draft picks that he's had has been Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Kadarius Toney. We're talking top either 1 or 2 picks, right? Kadarius Toney, Andrew Thomas, DeAndre Baker, and Will Hernandez. I could tell you Baker's no longer with this team, but incident off the field. Will Hernandez has been a complete disaster. Toney can't stay on the field. Daniel Jones, we don't know if we have a quarterback now. Saquon Barkley, after 2 years coming in, has been being one of the best backs in the league. Injuries and a poor offensive line has really slowed his production and his growth in this league. We don't know what we have with him, to be honest with you. Only guy that I would safely say that should come back is Andrew Thomas, a terrific offensive tackle. I'm sorry. Came in last year, ranked as the 55th best tackle in the league. That's not very good. Finished this season in the top 10. He has really grown. He has shown that he can be a rock. He's the only offensive lineman I would bring back on this team. But so David Gettleman has to go. Joe Judge should probably follow him. I don't know how you can bring in a coach. How you could bring in a GM. I'm sorry. How you could bring a GM into this situation and stick him with a quarterback you don't really know is the future and a coach that has had a dismal track record going in so far. He has amassed a 10 and 23 record. 10 and 23. It's been a disgrace so far. You look at where he was in his introductory press conference to what happened in the last couple of weeks. It's been a total 180. This is the guy, I'm going to read you quotes that says he's about an old school physical mentality. That 3rd and 9 didn't show that. We're going to put a product on the field that the people of this city and this region are going to be proud of because this team represents this area. I don't know a fan in this world that is proud of the product that they saw on the field, and I don't know if anybody would be proud of a coach that sent out a QB sneak on a 3rd and 9. He said we would play fast, we would play downhill, we would play aggressive. If that was not the opposite of aggressive, I don't know what to tell you. That was not aggressive. It was garbage. It was beyond conservative. It was pathetic. We will punch you in the nose for 60 minutes. We will play every play like it has a history and a life of its own with a relentless competitive attitude. There was nothing competitive about that 3rd and 9 call as a QB sneak. I could see the look on the players' faces, and I'm sure that they knew that their coach quit on them. Joe Judge quit on his team. He went from being secure in his job over a month ago to now with the press conference, with the play calling yesterday, there is no question that you have serious doubts that this guy should be the coach of this team right now. If I'm the New York Giants, I'm making a call to the recently fired Brian Flores, who should not have been fired in Miami, and say, hey, what do you think about coaching this team? Because Joe Judge has quit on this team. His players do not want him to come back. That's the reports that I've seen come out of the New York Post and other places. The players don't want Judge to come back. Judge in his press conference after the game said there needs to be wholesale changes. It looks like he doesn't want the players to come back. I think if I'm John Mara, if I can't fire myself, I'm firing everybody. Everybody needs to go. Get rid of the GM. Get rid of the coach. You got to make big changes to the players. There's only a few players I would bring back and start over. Listen, Daniel Jones, I don't know how you don't give him a shot because there's not a lot of quarterback talent. There is quarterbacks in this draft. Don't get me wrong. There's always a quarterback or two in a draft, right? I don't know if there's a guy after you look at, their pro day and then after the combine and everything that you can confidently say, hey, this is the guy that I want. Right now, it doesn't look that way. There's a lot of free agent quarterbacks that you probably can hang your hat on. I don't know what you do with Daniel Jones. I'm okay giving him another shot. But if you don't believe in him as a GM and as the coach, you got to move on. Listen, the Cardinals did it with Josh Rosen. They didn't believe in him after year one. They got the number 1 pick. They took their chance with Kyler Murray. They're in the playoffs. That's what you got to do. Saquon Barkley, after an ACL tear, the first year back is always tough, and then he was dealing with a pretty bad ankle injury that he suffered against the Dallas Cowboys. I think that slowed him down for the year. I think, if anything, at $7 million, I think you bring him back. You might be able to franchise him after that. I just think you do bring him back. I think if you... I heard from former Giants Sean O'Hara, great offensive lineman. He said the Giants offensive line, when he played, always said, we will get you 3 to 4 yards based off our blocking and our effort. The rest is up to you to get beyond that, get 10 yards, touchdowns, all that. You're telling me he's averaging just about 3 yards per carry. There is no way that he shouldn't average more than that. It's a joke. The offensive line needs to go. If you put him with better talent, then that's what happens. I'm looking at the offensive line. There's not an offensive lineman that I would bring back on this team right now, other than Andrew Thomas. I think if I see Nate Soldier in a Giants uniform, I'll be dead. I'm looking at him. I'm looking at Will Hernandez, and I'm looking at Price and company. Even though some of those guys Price played a little bit better down the stretch, it's a wrap. You cannot go into this next season with this current mix of offensive line. They can't pass block. They're not aggressive in the run game. It's a wrap. I'm looking at guys that probably should be eligible to be cut. I'm looking at Kyle Rudolph probably has to go. I'm looking at Bradbury is a candidate. I don't want to lose him. I think because of what you got coming back and the cap space hell that you're in, you probably have to bring him back. Evan Ingram, I would probably say goodbye. I don't think there's a way he comes back. Jabril Peppers, he's probably not going to come back. Mike Glennon, get lost. Maybe you keep Peppers. Maybe you keep Blake Martinez, who's going to be coming off an ACL tear. He was a really good linebacker for us. Unfortunate that we lost him, I think, on the third play of the game. You possibly bring him back. But Lorenzo Carter, who knows if you've seen enough down the stretch from him to want to bring him back. After the Achilles tear. I would bring him back at a good price. Jalen Smith, you signed him as a free agent. He played well for the Giants. Probably bring him back. Billy Price, for depth, yes. As a starter, no. Because as after week 8, I think this season, he's had an overall Pro Football Focus grade of about 72.5, which isn't bad. 12th best center in the NFL. So I think he might be safe to come back, but for depth. I think if you can find a starter, I think you go that route. Elijah Penny, bring him back, at a lower rate. There's just guys on this team, though, the mix, you got to get rid of them. You got to go into the draft. You got to draft linemen. You got, on the offensive side, you got to draft pass rushers that can make an impact in the passing game to give the secondary the help they need. I think the secondary, for the most part, is pretty solid. Julian Love, Logan Ryan, James Bradbury, Xavier McKinney. I think that's a good mix. I think you could use another cornerback or two. Keon Crossan, maybe bring him back. And Aaron Robinson, I think you've seen enough. Maybe you bring him back, but I definitely think you draft corner in the draft. Kenny Galladay, and I'm all over the place, people. Bear with me. Kenny Galladay, horrendous season. Do I blame him for that? No, I think it's the offense. 37 catches on 76 targets is just horrendous. But I saw him short arm a catch yesterday. So it's been a frustrating season. Only 521 yards receiving. The offense as a whole has been a joke. I would bring him back. Tony, get him healthy. Shepard, it's a tough one. The injury was really, he's just injured on and off. I think he's a great Giant. I would probably lean to bringing him back. Slayton, I wouldn't. But I wouldn't be surprised if Shepard has played his last game as a Giant. Only played in 7 contests this year. Had 36 catches for 366 yards. Just a tough season for him. But for the most part, you got to blow this thing up. They started today. Gettleman retired, quote unquote. He's out as the GM. So he's the first domino to fall for the New York Football Giants. Expect more to happen as we go along. I think Joe Judge has played himself out of this this city, I don't know. The fans don't want him back. I think anybody that was on the fence has basically said, no, we're done with you. So now you're looking at if you what they're saying is they're going to hire outside of the organization to bring in a GM, which is what they should have done years ago. Louis Riddick is a candidate that I absolutely love. He's just a smart football mind. He did interview for the position. I think it was 2 years ago. Names that have come up: Scott Poley, the former executive of the year. He's a 5-time NFL executive of the year. He has a long list. I mean, he was GM for the Kansas City Chiefs and the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously had some success with the Chiefs. He's an interesting candidate. Louis Riddick, like I said, is a great candidate. We're talking Dave Ziegler, director of player personnel for the New England Patriots. Adam Peters is a name that's floating around. He's been the vice president of player personnel for the San Francisco 49ers. Monty Ozenfort, he's probably the most connected to the Giants as a replacement. Spent 15 years with the Patriots, and then he's been a director of player personnel with the Tennessee Titans. That, what the Titans has done has been pretty incredible with the talent that they had. So he's a really hot name. But the Giants, they had internal names, Kevin Abrams and Kyle O'Brien, okay. But no, they got to go outside the organization. They need somebody with fresh eyes to come in, look at this, and fix everything that's going on. The Giants need to make a hire, and they need to make a hire quick, because if they really want to make a move on a coach, they have to do it quickly. Ed Dodds, Colts assistant GM, has come up, hasn't done a bad job in New England. I mean, not in Indianapolis. Ryan Poles, another name that's popped up recently with the Kansas City front office, I think. Joe Schoden he's assistant GM with the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, they've done a great job building up their organization as well. So those are their names out there that they can hire. The Giants have to go out there and they have to bring in somebody, I think, credible with a good track record from a strong organization and get this thing moving in the right direction. Another season over. Another season in the crapper. We're looking at a long off season, but I mean 5-11, 4-12, 6-10, 4-13. Giants are heading in the wrong direction, in no direction. When does it end? We need to get it going right now, and it starts today with the Giants. Dave Galladay announcing his retirement, and now it's on to the offseason. But thanks again for listening to my post-mortem on the New York Football Giants. I encourage you, again, to like, subscribe, and share our content on our YouTube channel. We do a lot of great work on there, Sports City Chefs. Get to the website, sportscitychefs.com. A lot of blog content. Everything you can get from the chefs is on there. We got shows all week. We'll be doing the NFL Free-for-All on Tuesday, the Callers Cookout on Wednesday, the Crossover Cafe on Thursday, and then the timeless Sunday brunch on Sundays. So we got a lot of content out there. And like TP would say, tell a friend to tell a friend. It's the chefs again. And if they don't know, now they know.
Sports City, chefs, Sports City, chefs, yeah. Cabby, Taj.